Good evening. I'm here doing the week 2 milestone video. Little update on what's been going on. So last week was the first week. When I started off, I had actually started off on a full character model, the whole body and the head. This was because I wasn't completely sure what exactly the requirements were for the directed studies course. I didn't know if we were just doing a bust or a full character. I had emailed our course director and my art director about that, and it took until Sunday night of last week to finally get an email back from someone to kind of let me know what was going on and kind of clear up some of my questions. So this week I took that into account and just started working solely on the bust, completely set aside the whole character body, and really started working on getting the bust going. It did set me back just a little bit. I tried my best to get as far as I could with this bust, with the forms and the anatomy. I spent a lot of time this week looking at different videos by Ryan Kingsland that you, Christian, recommended. And then also looked and got a book that Ryan Kingsland mentioned by Eduardo Lanteri, who's a great sculpting instructor. And I've been looking at the first chapter on sculpting the face and the mouth and all the muscles and the different things that go into creating these shapes around the mouth and the chin, and how they all work with the cheeks, and how there's different muscles here that allow for the motions of our mouth. And then just the figures and the images in there of his sculpting demonstrations and the drawings. They just kind of bring a whole new look to it, and kind of an in-depth kind of view of what we have going on here. As I kind of went through the week, I started to notice some things from your critique and after that I was having trouble with. So the cheekbones, I was having trouble getting those raised out. They were very flat. So when you looked at my bust from the side, instead of this curving out and kind of going back, it was just kind of going straight down. It would come out just a little and go straight down. Also, I noticed that this right here, these weren't pushed back as much, and the brow of the top of the skull wasn't pulled out like it should be. So with those two things, it was making my eyes look very weird. Once I did get those eyeball shapes put in there, it was kind of flattening those out, and they were too far up, so it was giving it a strange look. It was just looking very disproportioned. One of the videos you mentioned in my critique last week was by Ryan Kingsland about the anatomy of the mouth. And I took that and watched it a couple times, and then really took into account what he said, that it's not really even the volume of the lips that matters, but it's thinking about the shape and how far out the teeth come, and how far they protrude out, which will in turn actually give you the shape for the mouth. And then just looking at his basic demonstration of how he constructs the mouth, and looks at the different muscle shapes that go here and here and here. I mean, and how they wrap down, and you've got the ones down at the bottom, and they all just work together to give you that shape. And if you start looking at the muscle structure there, then you realize how the mouth should contour, especially with that respect. So you kind of starting to see those. And of course, I'm no expert at all, but it did help me a lot to start understanding those. And then, as you were saying last week, that S shape that you kind of get, I've still got to work on it some, but it's that S shape you get with the cheeks, with that cheekbone as you kind of come down and out. I've definitely noticed some things with Daisy Ridley's face, is that from some pictures her face just looks very smooth and contoured. Like for this reference down here, it's great to get a front view on how her jawline should sit. But then when you look at pictures like this one up here in the top right of her smiling, and this one from the side here, I took and printed those out and started looking at the shape of her cheeks and started drawing topology lines, just kind of the contour lines of her shape, of her face, and you realize that kind of her cheekbones actually protrude quite a bit. She has a very small face, but she has very strong cheekbones. So I'm really trying to accent that, but not blow her face out of proportion. I haven't done much work with the eyes. I'm still kind of starting on those and trying to figure out the best way to attack them. And at this point, I'm up to 4 or 5 subdivision levels. So I've been working on figuring out how I want to move into that higher level of detail. So I know that next I'll be tackling the lips and starting to look at the detail on those and getting those lines in there and really pushing back that lip, the separation between the lips, that small space in between, to get that. And then I want to start looking at skin alphas and then looking at her face in different respects and seeing if there's any special like facial details that she has that I can pull out of there. As I moved on through the week, I kind of just had my main bust with the eye holes sculpted out and pushed back, and I hadn't set any eyeballs in there, so I decided to go ahead and do that. And then I also went ahead and just roughed out the ear shape on the side and tried to position those. And once I got those, it started to help me a lot more with setting the jaw. I know this probably needs some more tweaking here because it might look a little rough or a little too straight still, but it's a little bit softer than it was last week. But setting these two parts of the bust definitely helped me with measuring landmarks and measuring how stuff should sit and looking at where everything should go. So I'm starting to get some good lines here with the angle of how the nose and the mouth is, and then the angle from the corner of the eye to the tip of the nose kind of grazes right across the top of that cheek. So I feel like I'm definitely headed in the right direction in that sense. And I went ahead and pulled out the neck shape so that I could start to get a feel for that. And then I looked at the muscle structure of the neck. So I've got two big muscles that come around the front. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, but I've been looking at them all week and pulled those out. I also took and pulled back the detail or the shape right here to form up to her chin to get started on that. But this is where I'm at so far with my character model. I feel like I have moved at least another stage up, so I feel like I'm kind of between stage 3 and 4 of that progression chart you gave us to kind of reference to see where we're at for ourselves. And I definitely plan to have to get a lot done this week so that I can be prepared to start retopology and UVing and all of that. But I definitely want to continue working to try and pull out as much detail and realistic likeness to Daisy Ridley as I can. Real quick, I'm just going to do kind of a turnaround so that you can get a look at it again from each side. Got the back here, and I've been double checking the proportions. I might need to pull her jawbone in slightly on the sides. I feel like it's sticking out a little too much. And then I'll definitely be smoothing this up on the bottom here to kind of clean that up and smooth it out. The crown of her head was actually a lot more challenging than I thought it'd be. At first, I was kind of getting this, it was almost making her head look like an alien because it was kind of like, it wasn't as rounded on the front, it was just kind of going straighter back, so it just made it look very slanted in the front, which was looking kind of weird for a while. Her lips were very tricky too, because she has a decent sized upper lip, but she also has a larger bottom lip too, and they're both very prominent, but they're also both they both have their own shape and detail. as I was also moving past Daisy, I took some time to just start choosing some references for the portfolio classes. The male celebrity I chose that I started my progression board for, I decided to go with the pre-approved asset for Gary Oldman. And so that was this one right here that y'all found, or that y'all had on the board. So I went through and started finding some different ones that just kind of showcase his face and the detail he has. I got a couple different expressions, like him smiling with his mouth closed, mouth open, raised eyebrows, and then just started kind of pulling some more references that y'all had on the board. And I've got some more character modeling references I can use too, that deal with the anatomy of the face and the anatomy of the body, to add to those as well. If we go back, that's the one I chose for the PCC 1, and I think it's the one I'd like to start with for that. For PCC 2, I decided to put my animal in here, so I chose the grizzly bear off of the pre-approved board. So I got that original reference, and then just started to find different ones here that kind of showed the stature and the build of the bear, and then kind of showed more of the face, and then the facial expressions and what they look like from the front. I also found a couple, this one was just a drawing breakdown of a bear, but I figured looking at these shapes right here and this one would give me an idea when I started to sculpt the head and the body, with the basic shapes I could use when dealing with like the spheres, to start sculpting them in ZBrush. And then I also found a couple anatomy pictures in there on Pinterest to kind of use as a reference on how I should be shaping the body of the bear around that skeleton. Let's go back here. For PCC 3, I decided to go with a female celebrity. The female celebrity was Demi Lovato. This was the original reference picture you guys had in here. With the smile, I found some more that really kind of showcase the structure of her face, and the side of her face, and then a couple different expressions. Now for PCC 3, I was going to do Demi Lovato for the bust, or if you allowed, I was thinking of continuing with Daisy Ridley, but moving her into a full character model position. So doing the full body on her and adding that second part to the bust. But if you'd like me to continue and do a brand new bust for PCC 3 to challenge myself a little more, I would be totally fine with that. I've also got this board here, for 3D modeling that I started just once I brought up my page here for my school account. That's just got all kinds of different modeling references on like topology and hair and the structure of the face, the ear, and then you got the block out of the nose and the mouth. And I'm still adding to that. I'm just kind of looking at different things to give me a different view of the anatomy and a different look at some of what people have done for character modeling, how they set up their topology, and the most efficient way to do that. I even found some cool turnarounds with human 3D anatomy, kind of set up the muscle structure and showing how that's laid out on a model, which was pretty cool. So those are my boards for the portfolio creation classes. Of course, you'll have the link for my Pinterest page, which you'll have access to all those to take a look at. Still working on finding more reference for each of those. I know we need to have, I think it was like 15 to 18 images. So I'm trying to find some more of Gary Oldman and Demi Lovato from like side views and three-quarter views and things like that to give us to give me some more views of how their facial structure is set up, and the way their face is kind of shaped and everything. But as for right now, this is about where I'm at as I'm doing this video to get ready to turn it in. I'm looking forward to continue on and working and getting those high details in there. I look forward to getting your critiques and seeing what I can improve. I definitely know I still have a lot to work on, and I appreciate all the help that you've given me so far. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.